Hey y'all, it's Alex from the marketing department. As you know, each year as a company, we take the time to focus on a key aspect of the business, and this year we decided to cover it all. There's a lot that happens between planting the first seed and picking up a bag of fresh produce from the grocery store. Each of you employees play such a big part in that we think it's only right that we share all of y'all's hard work. Not only that, but it's important for our community to see where their food comes from. So stick around and follow along with each chapter of our story of Where Fresh Happens.
Let's start with Chapter 1 of Where Fresh Happens, planting. During planting season, you most likely assume our team spends their day placing a seed in the ground. While that's partly true, there's quite a few things we have to check off our list in order to be successful. We start with inspecting all farm equipment and running thorough maintenance checks. We then plow the fields of any old crops or winter weeds. We determine whether we need to direct seed versus transplant, and then we tend and care for each crop daily. Let's dive a little deeper into what each of these mean, starting with the equipment check. One of the first things we do in planting season is check our equipment. It's critical that we conduct these thorough inspections to keep our employees safe and to avoid any operational damage. Next, we tend to the fields. Our farmers take their time to plow each field. Like I said, this gets rid of any old crop or winter weeds. Plowing prepares the soil for planting by creating open furrows in the ground. This breaks up the soil and brings nutrients to the surface, giving our seedlings the best environment to grow throughout the season. Next, let's look at seed size. Unless you're the one doing the planting, something interesting you may not know is that seed size can vary. Sometimes your biggest crop has the smallest seed. For example, you can see here that cilantro has a much larger seed than mustard greens. Here we have a field of rye strips. You've likely passed a field of them or two around the farm. Rye is planted because it's a form of windbreak. It grows tall and provides cover for young seedlings. Once it elongates, crops will be planted between each row, and it's protected during strong weather. Lastly, let's compare direct seeding versus transplanting. Here at WP Rawl, we plant a combination of both. There are benefits to both depending on the crop and the time of year. Transplanting is simply a baby plant that's mature enough to give us a head start on the season, while direct seeding is planting the individual seed. That's it for Chapter 1 of Where Fresh Happens. Stick around and learn more about the different processes we'll cover over the course of the year.
Hello, I am Daisy Aranda. I am a part of the I Am Raw committee. This quarter we are focusing on our value, you.
You matter. Tú importas.
You matter.
You matter.
I matter.
You matter.
I matter.
We matter!
Hey, Walter P. Rawl team members. This is Pete in the Transportation Department with a Take 5 update. While driving around the local area, you may, starting on February 7th, see some of our awesome drivers highlighted on billboards, congratulating them on the accomplishment of driving over 1 million miles for Walter P. Rawl. Those drivers and locations are, we have Marcus Easterling at 378 Garners Ferry, Columbia Road. Highway 6 in Red Bank, you'll see Stephen Roberts. On number 1 Augusta Highway in Lexington, Bobby Watts. Highway 6, US 1 Columbia, Frank Flynn. I-77 Hardscrabble Road, Gerald Head. And I-77 Highway 21 Columbia, you'll see Donald Jackson. Furthermore, we have Kevin Halls, Mike Myers, and Kern Murdahl on other interstates in the area, I-77, I-85, and I-95. Please join me in congratulating these drivers for meeting this huge accomplishment.
Hey everybody, this is Josh Hall in our Field Operations Department. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about taking soil samples and how important taking those soil samples are to what we do out here in the field, and how we do it, and then how we use the test results to get our land and our fields ready for the next season. So first off, we'll just talk about actually taking the sample. So what I've got right here is a basic soil sample bag. I've got a pretty simple probe right here. So what you're going to do, and actually if you flip these bags over, these bags come from the Clemson Extension Office. if you flip these bags over, it gives pretty good directions on how to take these samples. But the gist of it is, if you've got a field, a 1 acre field, 10 acre field, 100 acre field, however large the field is, you want to make sure, like this picture shows, you want to make sure to take samples from different areas of the field to make sure you have representation of the entire field and the entire field's nutrients and pH levels. So once you have a little bit of soil taken from this probe, you basically just poke this into the ground. It's about a 1/2 inch in diameter. For our crops, we only want to take 6 to 8 inches worth of soil. Anything much deeper than that, our plant's roots aren't going to get to, so that's not really important to have the nutrients down that low. But anyways, once you take that probe, an individual probe from one section of the field, you'll put it into a bucket. You'll move on to the next area of the field and continue taking these probes. And when you're finished at the end of the field, when you're finished with the field, you'll mix all of that soil up again to get a good representation of the whole field. You'll send that off to the Clemson Extension lab in Pendleton, and they go through that soil. They send a report back to you. It takes a week or two, and that report will show you all your macro, micronutrients, your pH, your buffer pH, all different types of statistics on your soil. And then it will also give some recommendations on what to do with that soil to get it to where it needs to be from a nutrient standpoint for whatever crop you're growing. So that was a pretty quick, fast explanation of soil samples. But again, this is something that we do every year, sometimes multiple times a year between crops. But we're probably taking just in South Carolina, minimum of 3, maybe even close to 400 of these samples a year. So again, they're very important to us, and I just wanted to show you all kind of where it all begins from a growing standpoint. Thank you.